Hey guys, so I asked if you guys wanted Asian or American food, and you guys chose Asian. So one of my go-to entrees to make is pad thai. Specifically for us, I make chicken pad thai, but you can add any protein that you like, whether it be shrimp, beef, a mix of both, a mix of all three, or tofu if you are a vegetarian. So this is a great meal to adjust to whatever kind of diet situation that you have going on. So the first step is you want to make sure to prepare your pad thai rice noodles as the box says. This is not my go-to kind of box, but in the middle of Corona, it's very hard apparently to find rice noodles anywhere. I will admit I had to go to 3 different stores in order to find one box. And so I'm going to try these, but essentially it's like spaghetti. It doesn't matter the brand as long as you cook it the correct way. So in order to make an excellent pad thai, you need some cooking vessel that conducts a lot of heat. Any Asian dish usually requires a wok, and so since I personally cook a lot of Asian meals, I did invest in one about 5 years ago. It's rather a substantial big size. It is electrical. It isn't one for the stove. You can find one for the stove, but I personally just like the electrical one. It is a hefty appliance. It takes up quite a big amount of space in a pantry or wherever you store your appliances. But like I said, I use it a lot, and so I really love mine. It is by the brand Breville. I think I pronounced that correctly. All right, so that's when you know your wok is ready. You want to make sure it is smoking hot. You want to hear that sizzle. However, if you do have little helpers hanging around, be careful, because since the oil is already kind of sitting there in the heat, it does have like a backsplash. So just be careful as you put your first products in. So in my case, this is a serving size of about 5 different entrees. So I'm gonna add 4 chicken breasts because I like to have just a little less chicken than I do pasta. But if you like to have more chicken, go ahead and add more. So I'm gonna drop it in, and as you can see, it's gonna create like a splashback. So just like I said, be careful because it can get really hot. Go ahead and cover that. I am going to step out to wash my hands because salmonella is real. Hands are clean and dry. Once the chicken is cooking, you want to be sure to kind of move it around just for a little bit. It will take about 5 to 8 minutes depending on the amount of chicken. And I will not lie, I completely forgot to thaw my chicken, so it's going to take a little bit longer in order to make sure the inside is well cooked. So that while that's cooking, if I hadn't practiced mise en place, which I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but basically it means cooking organized. And at first I thought, you really don't need to, but ask any professional chef or watch any show on Food Network, and they will tell you that organization is key. And after making this meal literally 20 times, I cannot say that enough. So on this side of my wok, you will see all my ingredients are already set up. This is most important because as the chicken begins to cook and as you throw in your ingredients, you want to make sure that you're cooking it at the right pace and you don't burn or you don't undercook your items. So it's really, really important to have it set up. So I'm going to refer to my ingredients, but just know that I've either diced them, have either made matchsticks or chopped up or whatever the case might be. Okay, so at this point I would have made my sauce, but I've prepared that already, but I can go ahead and talk to you guys about what's in this sauce. I am a really saucy person. You can ask anybody who really knows me. And so I find that a box like this that comes with noodles and no extra seasoning and no extra sauce packets requires double the serving. So I'm gonna give you just the serving that I use. So at first you wanna go ahead and add 1/2 cup of soy sauce. I tend to use Kikkoman, but it's very hard to find this brand right now in the middle of Corona, so any soy sauce is great, but my favorite is Kikkoman. And I do not use the less sodium, I just like the original one. After that, you want to go ahead and add 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar. I will not lie, sometimes I've used light brown sugar. The only difference is how long they kind of like cook the sugar down. You do get more flavor for dark brown sugar, so I always have dark brown sugar on hand. It's also good in chocolate chip cookies. And that's 1/2 cup. Here's rice vinegar. I always bought this brand. I can find it right now. I miss the coronavirus. And it's Maruchan, I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's 4 tablespoons. You also want to add just a little bit of lime juice. I personally don't add it to the actual sauce. I just like to drizzle it on top. Now this is a key ingredient in any Asian dish. They don't typically use salt in order to season their food as it's cooking. What most Asian entrees will require is fish sauce. And so this fish sauce doesn't have an expiration date. I have never been able to find it, and that's kind of scary to me, but I use it often, so I don't think it's a big deal. Anyways, fish sauce is their sodium supplement, and so if you're using fish sauce, do not use salt. And you really want fish sauce unless you have an allergy to shellfish or any fish kind of thing. So yeah, go ahead and use fish sauce in your sauce, and I believe this one is 2 tablespoons as well. And so you just put it in a bowl and you go ahead and whisk. And you set that aside while your chicken is cooking. All right, so when it comes to the chicken or any protein, when it comes to pad thai, I like to undercook it just a little bit at this point because you're gonna throw it back in the wok to cook it again. So it's been sitting here for about 6-ish minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove it and place it on a clean plate that I've had ready to go since the beginning. Alright, so I went ahead and removed the chicken. I do utilize the same oil. Sometimes the oil does run out, and so you can go ahead and add extra if you need to. I started with vegetable oil. I know it's not the healthiest, but it definitely adds to the flavor, so I do use it for my pad thai. Okay, so the first step is to add your bell pepper. Recipe does call for red, but like I said, I have orange on deck, so that's what I'm using. And I just put them into matchsticks. That's what a chef would call them, but they're just sticks. That's what they are. So yeah. You throw them in and you cook them for about 1 to 2 minutes by themselves in the oil. The next ingredient that you want to add is the carrots. Okay, as that finishes up its 1 to 2 minutes of cooking, I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic next. I cannot talk about this little jar enough. I personally use a lot of garlic. I'm a new mom. I don't have the time to be cutting garlic. It's really tedious for me. So I just buy this jar. I know it's a little pricier than garlic, but I love it. It's worth the investment for me. It requires 4 cloves. You can be more generous. I like to give heaping amounts. 4 cloves is 2 teaspoons. So this is 1 and 2. At this point, you would add also your green onion, but like I said, Rudy doesn't like to eat onions, so I'm gonna omit that. And when I first started this recipe, you can also add bean sprouts. They're really nutritional. However, if you're pregnant, you should not be eating them. So ever since I was pregnant with ASAP, I wasn't able to eat them then, so I just haven't added them back in. Plus, they always come in a huge bag, and so we don't finish them, and I just find it to be wasteful. So if you have them, use them. If you don't, it's okay. It still tastes good. Okay, so I want to show you what the pan looks like. You can tell that they still have some firmness to them. But at the same time, you can see a little bit of color coming through on the carrots. So I say right about there is a good time to add the next ingredient. Alright, the next one is my husband's favorite. I personally have a love-hate relationship with them. I understand they're very versatile. I get it. I use it in about everything. However, I do not like to eat a lot of egg scrambles in my pad thai. So I will admit the recipe calls for 3. I use 2 because that's personal preference for me. And he already got no onions, so I dictate how many eggs to eat. You just pack them right into the center once you push the veggies to the side. And once again, make sure to wash your hands because salmonella is... Alright, so I want to show you how the eggs look. Kind of looks like a sunny side up egg, but the recipe calls for scramble. So you just go ahead and scramble up that egg with one of these spatulas. or cooking utensils and let it cook through. Once you have a good enough scramble on them, you can go ahead and mix in your veggies along with your garlic. Okay, so now that the veggies and the eggs have cooked, you want to go ahead and add the last few ingredients to the wok. It is your nearly done chicken. Your noodles that have been sitting in hot water since you are stir frying them. You can also boil them, but you have to be careful that you do not overcook them because then you get gooey noodles and nobody wants gooey noodles. Throw that in there. And now since my sauce has been ready since the beginning, it does separate slightly since the brown sugar weighs more and goes to the bottom. So you just want to whisk that right back up and go ahead and pour that in. You can also add some lime, which we are a highly citrusy family. All right, so the original recipe that I discovered actually tells you to just let this sit so the flavors can melt. Wrong, don't listen to that recipe. Listen to me. The longer that it sits on a lower heat, so I'm gonna take mine from a high sear to about a 4 on the wok. The longer that it sits, it allows the sauce to kind of thicken up. It doesn't have that watery feel to it, which I personally don't like in a pad thai. As you can see, there's like a lot of liquid going on. It will allow the noodles to continue to soak up the juice, and on top of that, it will help them cook. So I let mine sit about 10 to 15 minutes. Just kind of want to be checking it because you also don't want it to get burnt at the bottom and be moving it around every 2 to 3 minutes, I suppose. Initially, I do mix it all together. After it's been mixed though, I don't encourage you doing a thorough mix. Just because once you do that, it does create a gummy texture on the noodle. All right, so as that cooks, I'll see you in a bit. All right, so it's been sitting here about 5 to 8 minutes. The reason it cooked a little bit faster is because I cranked it up back to 10, because we are new parents and we have to take advantage when Asaph is asleep. But let me show you what I like to see in my pad thai. So as you can see, most, if not all, the liquid has disappeared, and it's all absorbed into the noodles and the chicken, and it just enhances that flavor. You want to make sure that you turn off your wok or unplug it like mine once it's at this point, just because if you do want to eat leftovers, it will dry it out intensely, and it will also burn the little bottom part of it. This serving feeds about 5 people, hefty sizes. So you can come back for seconds if it's just 2 of y'all, or you have lunch, dinner, like us, and an extra serving for whoever wants it. So the plating part is one of my favorites, and I'll show you why. You definitely add a lot of fun color, depending on who the person that is eating it and what ingredients they allow you to top it with. Rudy and no onions. I know. All right, so I really enjoy cooking. I enjoy the plating process. You've seen it on countless shows, and I will just advise the same thing. Just take a napkin and go ahead and wipe the sides of your plate if yours turned out a little messy like mine did before. And this is the fun part for me. You can go ahead and add various toppings to yours. I like to add cilantro, some chopped unsalted roasted peanuts. This is my plate, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some green onion. Let me go ahead and open the bottle of red crushed pepper. I don't buy any specific or fancy ingredients. I just use McCormick. They are the goat of spices. You can also go ahead and add sesame seeds. If you have anybody with a food allergy, just omit this on the topping. We gotta order more of that. And you also can add some sriracha for some added heat. Throw on 2 slices of lime. And there, dinner's ready. It's a guaranteed win in the kitchen. Let me know if you all try it.